to FJ Talks. Today we have a hot topic, and here to discuss that topic with me is Fatu, Amelia, and John.
Hello.
Today's topic is about parents that don't let the other parent well. So basically it's keeping your child away from the other parent. Is it fair, and in which circumstances do you feel that it's necessary? So can we speak about this topic? How do you feel about that, Fatu?
Personally, I'm someone who always believes that it doesn't matter what happens, that it's not about you. It's not about me. I have to do what I think is best for my child. And there are certain circumstances where, you know, I would feel that I might not let my significant other or the person that I'm no longer with see the child if I think that it's detrimental to my child. Absolutely nothing to do with me. I don't have to speak to that person or have any dealings with them. But as long as they are being a parent to my child, then it's fine with me, because I feel like a child needs both parents in order to grow to be a good human. Because myself, I didn't grow up with both my parents, so I know the effects of that. So I don't want that to be implied on my child. But at the same time,
in which circumstance would you keep your child away from his parent or her parent?
If the man is extremely violent, and if he's like a pedophile, or you know, I find myself, my stance changing a little bit in terms of consistency is key. So the most important thing to me is my child and her needs. So if the person is going to constantly let my child down, I don't think it's fair to want to be in my child's life and then put that burden on her, because there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do when they're expecting you on a birthday, on Christmas, on a holiday, on, you know, just being consistent. And if you can't do that, I think there becomes a point where you have to choose. It's either you're going to be a parent or you're not. You cannot come and be father of the year every 3 months, you know. And then the child is like, oh my god, I need that. And then I'm sitting there boiling, thinking, yeah, but I've nothing for the last 3 years, and then you want to come and I have to be careful, because if I go too hard, I will end up looking like the bad person. So I don't know. It's a really, really complicated situation, but I don't feel like any man or woman should have a child and not be in their child's life. That's not acceptable in any circumstances for me personally.
Amelia, how do you feel about this topic?
I agree completely with what Fatu said. I feel like, but at what point, I always wonder, at what point do you cut off? Like, with the consistency thing, it's a touchy situation, because when do you cut off? Is it a year later? Is it 2 years later? Is it 2 months of inconsistency? Like, when is it that you say enough is enough? And is it fair that you make that decision? Do you wait until it affects your child? Do you say, okay, this is going to affect my child, I'm not going to? Because at the end of the day, regardless of anything, you're going to look like the bad person. There's two sides to every story, and his story is never going to be the same as your story. There's always like his side, her side, and the truth.
Definitely.
And I feel like, even though people may say there's a reason why they've stopped their significant other from seeing the child, there's also emotion involved. Regardless of anything, that is your child's father. There's always going to be emotion involved. So whether you may have moved on, there's going to be that emotion. There may be anger or something that happened in the relationship, but yeah, I feel like when do you cut off that point? When is that cut off point where you say, okay, you're being inconsistent? Because everything else she said was correct. The only thing was the consistency. I was thinking, okay, so you have to have a point where you say, okay, enough is enough. But when is that point? Does you wait till it affects your child? Or do you say, okay, I think this is now going to affect my child. I'm now going to take the decision for my child's best interests at heart and say, that's it.
But who are you to determine what is the best interest if you don't let it play out? So it's so hard.
Exactly.
I don't feel like there's a right there's a right and there's a wrong, but it's just so hard, and no woman should have, or what man should have to make that choice. If we choose to lay down, and whatever comes out of that, we choose to bring a life into this world, and people use it as an escape as well. Oh, she's not letting me see my child. What have you done? Have you taken her to court? Have you, like, there's ways to go about it that you have to. If I was a child, I would rather want to know that my father has done everything in his power. He's gone through the courts. He's put money aside every month if my mother did not let him.
But do you feel like men don't want to go through that process because they don't want the drama, and they don't want to put their kids through that?
No, I feel like they don't want to go through the drama, but your child, as long as you're not there, they don't care what you're going through. All they see is, mummy's there. She could be the worst person in this world, but she was the one that's there. She could have been doing the worst things to you. They're not seeing that. All they're seeing, you are not there. You could build them a mansion. They don't care. You were not there. So,
I think even if you was to stop your child from seeing their dad for whatever reason, and he may have the best reason ever, I feel like the mother is always left kind of to blame until that child gets to a certain age where they can fully understand. But while that child is young and can't understand or hasn't seen anything that has made them think, okay, dad's like this, and they have that, dad is so great, dad is fantastic, when he comes he brings toys, he does this, he does that, the mum is always going to be to blame, and that's quite sad. And it's the both ways as well, because it could be that the dad has the child and doesn't let the mum see the child because of whatever reason. The one that makes decisions is always going to be the bad guy until the child gets that certain stage or sees something which is now going to alter their mind state towards that parent.
Because it's the one that's like doing the discipline, the day-to-day life, that everything. Whereas you're coming in as like the fun the weekend, you let them stay up, you let them have sweets, you blah blah blah. And they're like, go to bed, you know. You're gonna be the villain, but what it has to be a balance. The thing is to just, if you can just stay together. Together.
John, how do you feel about this? As a male, and predominantly males are the ones that really go through this. They're the ones that are without their kids the most. How do you relate to this topic?
I think there was a point that I picked up during Fatu and Emilia's openings. And those points were quite significant in the whole addressing of the issue when it comes to children being prevented from seeing their dad, or children being prevented from going to their dad. Now, Fatu and Emilia most of the time use the word our child, my child, and it does play up, though we agree that fundamentally women are the bearers of children, but let's not forget the fact of both contributions from the male and the female, beginning of how conception take place. And our contribution often played up as insignificant in the whole childbearing scenario. And as a result,
I do not. Fatu has something.
As a result, let me land the point, if I may. If I may, yes, you have your chance to say. If I may, let me land the point.
Okay.
But often it goes also to underline the fact the women used the fact that they were the ones who kept the children 9 months in the stomach with them at all times, and we agree and we respect women for that contribution, and we do recognize the importance of that. Nonetheless, often what has happened is that it's being used as a core card to play down the significance of the man and our contribution. Like they raise a point saying that the man will come once in a while and be the super daddy and all. We all can agree the dynamics of this environment particularly let's not even go back to Africa's scenario.
What would happen in Africa? What would happen in Africa?
Africa's scenario might be slightly different because the environment within which we operate.
How would it happen in Africa?
Well, within here, let me bring it from here first. I can give you the African scenario. Here, half of the time we are juggling work. Men are juggling work. So I'm not saying women don't work. Half of the women work, yes. But even though women work, men's work are often sort of takes them out of the house for a long while to come back.
But that's you choosing if you're together as you choose it. And when I say my child, I'm talking particularly from my situation. From the minute that I got pregnant and I chose to have that child, if I had got help from my child's father, great. If I didn't keep that child, he's not obliged to. So that's why I use the word my child.
I'd rather use the word our child.
Well,
that will satisfy both parties because remember, we've both been there. Somehow along the line, there's been a break in communication. There's been something that's gone wrong.
Yeah.
As a result, there's been separation. And when that happens, the woman quickly wants to use the weapon of the fact that they are the primary keepers of the children. We all agree. And therefore deny the man. I've had several experiences with my friends going through this scenario of events. And often what happens is they are willing to come into the child's life and help and contribute their normal day-to-day contributions to make sure the child goes to school, to make sure the child's homework is addressed.
But I don't agree with that as well. Like, and I said that earlier on. The one thing that I don't agree with at all, I don't believe that anyone has a right to stop the father of their children being involved in their life. And a lot of the time, women use their emotions. That's what I said earlier. Sure. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. It has what is beneficial to your child.
Yes.
So, and then with the way that I speak, I'm taking it from the point of my scenario. My scenario is completely different to the basic thing, because me and my child's father separated when I was 3 months pregnant. I no longer wanted to be in that relationship. So when I talk, predominantly I'm coming from my
experience.
So
I'm not generalizing as in like my.
Nonetheless, for the purpose of this discussion, if we can veer off from basing on personal and going
I want it to be personal, because this show is about really coming in and telling your personal experiences or forming a personal opinion of something that somebody else has lived or you have lived yourself.
Okay, I'm going to make a point.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you have a child with your wife, and before your wife goes out, she says to you, are you going to be okay to look after A today because I'm going to go out?
Sure.
You're going to say no or yes. Would you ever, before you go out, ask your wife, are you okay to look after A because I want to go out? No, you'd say, I'm going to go out today, I'll be back at this time, and you'll go.
Well, it depends on what scenario we are dealing with.
A woman, she's expected to be
not necessarily. Supposing she works, supposing she's the type who can go.
Why is it only working? Maybe she just wants to.
She's a home wife, she stays at home, but before you leave, you would never ask, is it okay for you to look after?
Because you know she's not going anywhere.
Okay, but why does she then have to ask you?
Because she knows you are going, you're a busy man, you work.
Some women also do not allow
no, you work.
Parents.
I work, I've just come from 12-hour shift. I left home
Monday
for
to Friday you work. I'm just giving you a scenario. Monday to Friday you work. Weekends you're off.
Yes.
Both in the house.
Yes.
Before you leave the house, even to go to the shop, you'll never say to your wife, can you look after our child? You would just say, I'm going to the shop, and you'll go.
Because
your wife will
it's
never
a
leave.
default, it's a natural base for a child. Is the
This is why a lot of people say my child, because it is my child.
No,
if your child
but let's use the word our child.
Okay.
In that way,
out of this situation, all of you are in a two-family household. I am the only one that's like a single mother. So we will be right back after this break.
This one for a blessed Gambia. The more we work together, the more we celebrate.
welcome back to the show.
I'm bound to speak as a solo person, not as a collective.
Sure,
and there are people, there's a lot of single parents, and there's a lot of like mixed families and things like that. So in that perspective,
how is it as a single parent person? And having to do everything on your own, and in regards to your situation, could you give us an insight?
I wouldn't really want to go too much into it, but from I've done everything from when I got pregnant to when I chose to keep that child, to how with the help of my family has been amazing.
Yeah,
you know, my family has literally been the other part to her not having her father here, because her father moved to a different country.
And I've met your daughter, and she is amazing.
So,
yeah,
I would say as in I chose to have that child.
Yeah.
If I had help from him, it would be wonderful. And I've gone through, and it affects your mental health as a single mother. I have gone through roller coaster points with him where I have cried at times, and I'm like, why? I did not understand why you just cannot be consistent.
Yeah.
And like I asked a simple thing of you, I do everything else, and I don't feel like it's right for me to do everything else. And I say, if you've got money for food, you've got money for your child. If you've got money for cigarette, if you've got money for drink, if you've got money for air, you've got everything that you can do for your child. So the reason why I would say, however, I got pregnant, I could have got rid of it. I chose to keep that child, so she's mine. If I would never stop him from anyhow, I gave her his name. I make sure, you know, I do the best that I can. You know, cook my little Caribbean thing for her to know her culture. So, you know, I do the best that I can, and I can only speak from my experience. But I hate the fact that, going back to the topic, that I later on introduced my child further back to him and his whole family, and then explained to her and everything, and then he was like proper involved in her life again, and then let me down. There was nothing that I can do now, because the child is expecting to see him and all that stuff, and that's not fair. Because if I didn't say nothing, we would have just easily swum along. You know, we're gonna just like claim somebody else. No, we won't do that.
No, but with that, you can always say to yourself, I've tried. Like, if she comes to you in the future, like, oh, why wasn't that involved? I did try to get involved.
I say that to him. Like, and the thing is, I am good. There's absolutely nothing that I can. I would never like tarnish him in any form of way. But I said that to him like a couple of weeks ago. I don't want you. You still have time to not make a strong position where you're going to regret it, because I know my child. She's just like me. We're strong, and I was like, she will question you later on, and I won't say nothing bad against you, but you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do as a father. I didn't make her on my own, and I asked him, do you think you have done everything you can do to be a father? He said no, and cried, and I'm like, don't give me your tears. It's not for me. Keep your tears.
Well, from the angle Fatu is coming from, I might have a bit of sympathy, and also understand the fact that she did the earlier introduction as she did. Half of the time, I think some of these things, irrespective, might have culminated from the fact that earlier on, from the onset, right from onset before conception and all that, there might be a form of disagreement, which the man would have taken it on his own to fall out on it, because the woman has disagreed with his position in respect of what was happening. And often, some of us might have gone through one or two earlier in our days as we climb to this position as we are
in a relationship, and it just.
Well, like I told you, there's definitely a decision. When conception happens, half of the cases, the man might say that, oh, I'm not ready yet, or for some reason, let's delay it till such time. But if a woman for the first time half of the time, women for the first time, it's very difficult to convince a woman who has for the first time experienced that sort of situation to agree to do away with that way.
Yeah. But how do you feel about
if you're not ready, like you were saying, not ready. If you're not ready, you don't think as a man you should wear a condom or take certain precautions. If you're not ready, don't do the deed.
You are right.
If you're not, you cannot say that.
a man is a man?
I can take you back to the days. No, I can take you back to the days.
You're talking about the man shouldn't wear contraception. I mean, they should wear a condom. But a woman couldn't wear. Yeah, you could have protected yourself as well.
Not ready, either of them. If she does not have protection, you as a man who is not ready, don't. You know.
People have sex every single day. Every single day, people have sex.
Sometimes there's no thought behind it.
It's true.
There's no thought behind it. It just seems to happen.
And it's a blessing. A baby is a beautiful blessing.
You cannot say that I'm not ready. We're ready.
Yes.
We're ready. You're not ready right now. You were ready.
Because half of the time, if I may say, that is what brings that decision of drawback on the man's side, and some of them will draw back initially.
But where do they draw back to? Because that child is still there.
They are afraid of the initial pressures of the responsibility that they have to bear.
But whilst that grown man is scared and doing all of these things, that baby needs food, that baby needs love, that baby needs care, that baby needs all of those things.
That goes back to us carrying the baby for 9 months. We felt the baby kick, we've heard the baby's heart, we've been to all the appointments, we've been reading up. Whereas the man's just thinking, okay, her belly's getting big. All they see is the big belly getting bigger and bigger. She's tired, she wants this, she wants that.
She wants.
She's always crying, she's always moaning, she's always tired, she can't
She's stopping me from going out and being with my friends.
That's what they see.
But then again, Emilia, there's some men out there that are excited for the baby to come, and then the woman wants to use that baby as a weapon to control that man, to get money,
That's when emotion gets involved. That's the problem.
Some women get pregnant to trap a man.
Exactly.
What about the baby? So you're not thinking about your future child. You want that man more than you want somebody that's going to depend on you for the rest of your life. Like when men say that, oh, I'm scared of marriage, but they want to get you pregnant. I don't understand. It's like the baby's for the rest of your life. You can get divorced tomorrow. So it's like, how do you trap somebody?
If a man wants you to have a child but he doesn't want to marry you, he just wants to have you, like lock you down, but live his life. He wants to live that bachelor life whilst having you there, knowing that you have to be there. You're going to be where he's left you because you've got that child.
My dear. If I'm not good enough to be your wife, I should not be good enough to be the mother.
Can we also see a situation like this that I narrate? On some few occasions, we've had a situation where a child has been involved. There has been a disagreement at home. The woman has felt that now, the environment within which she lives now, she has certain opportunities that if he draws back with the child together and move out from the man, the system and the structures within this environment can support her in bringing up the child. And that gives her safety net. And
so do you think the system here enables women to keep their kids away from...
It does encourage.
Definitely.
It does encourage.
Why do you think that is?
Because the system is structured primarily to favor women and children.
Even though it says that you have 50-50 rights with your spouse.
No, that is on the legal level. But the structured social systems support the primary, care of the woman and the child. The man always come as a tertiary stage. So half of the time we've seen here broken homes. What are the reasons behind? Because the woman wants to be her own woman. She wants to be independent. She's being supported by the system, knowing that even though she cannot afford to rent a house for herself, the government and the structures will give her a house.
But that's
they'll do the same. But they'll do the same with men too. If you've got a child, if a man
comparatively, no.
If a woman and man have a child together, and the child is of a certain age, he's allowed now to get an extra bedroom for that child. My dad had a two-bedroom house, and I lived with my mum, and that bedroom was for me. That's because I didn't live with my dad, but he was in my life. I had that bedroom, and he was allowed to have that bedroom for me.
Yeah,
I think men just
terms,
don't know the
proportion.
No, it is. The law is the law.
Half of the men will not even think about that or even consider it.
Exactly. That's why.
Nonetheless, if 100 applies, 30 will be successful. If women 100 applies, 90 will be successful.
No, they haven't applied.
Look at the ratio. If they do apply even. Trust me, for some reason they'll take the men out and bring the women to the
For you
fore.
to reach that what they want, you need to show you're in your child's life. You're paying for that child. You're doing everything that you can do.
A lot of men have done.
But it's not about either. And I feel like a lot of the time what happens, especially with our culture and things like that, is people come from back home and then they realize, oh my God, I have all this freedom. And we don't think about like what is beneficial for our child. We think about, okay, if he's not in the house, the government's going to pay for me, and then I'm going to have this and and I've got my independence, I've got this. It's not about you. In this topic, and I've said that several times, it's not about me, it's not about him, it's about
that child.
Best for the child.
Yeah.
And a lot of women, and I cannot say this strong enough, I've said it so many times, I despise any woman that would not allow the father of their child to be in their life. It's not right. It's not about you, because some of us have grown up with our fathers not being in our life. If you went through that, how would you think it's okay just because you're getting a couple of hundred change from the benefit system, but the mental health of your child and the growth of your child, that is detrimental to it. So the freedom that you did not have back home, all of a sudden you come to the Western world, you know your right, you know your freedom, you don't need your man no more, the government's gonna give you a little chicken change, and you think like you can buy your hair and be whatever. No, you be cute and your child's emotionally damaged. Because you're not allowing them to see their father or their mother, or you not even if you're there, oh, she's not letting me see them, and you're trashing the other parent. It's not right. And I feel like we need to like go back to the basics of what do I want. Like, you as an adult, what would you have wanted your family life to be? What would you have needed from your parents? Make sure that you give that to your child. There's two ways that we are raised and how we raise our children. You either raise your child exactly how you've been raised, or completely against how you've been raised. Any damage or any hurt that I felt in terms of my parents, I'll make sure my child never goes through it. And that's what I was saying earlier, when with the father situation, when you're helpless is the worst thing ever. But there's no way in hell I would ever be able to stop that, because I don't want them to feel abandoned. And not from my account anyway. When she's old enough, she can ask him.
How do you feel about people that come from domestic violence situations where the mom has been abused and she's scared of the male and she wants...
We will be right back after this break.
Yo, this one for a blessed Gambia. The more we work together, the more we celebrate. The more we come together, the more we celebrate. Come on, let's get together. There's a place I love to be. The Gambia, the Gambia. Fun and sunrise by the beach. The Gambia, the Gambia. All this love, come share with me. The Gambia, the Gambia. Land of peace and prosperity. The Gambia, the Gambia. It's the only feeling that can make you strong. This is where you and I belong. Dance to the
heart of the Gambian way of life is the village and family. We have a vibrant and diverse culture full of music, dance, art, and a love of life. It's all around you, and you can feel it too. From the river comes fire. It brings light to the forest, wealth to its people, and new life to this fertile land. The love of nature and culture, the beautiful sun and sea, a land of friendship and peace. Gambia has it all and more.
Welcome back to the show.
To keep her son or her daughter close to her because she's scared of him.
As long as he hasn't touched her.
So in that perspective, how do you feel, Amina?
I disagree with that totally. If he has been violent towards if a man has been violent towards a woman in front of the child, he is a risk to that child also. Reason being, he did not think about his child before he decided to do whatever.
In front.
No, it doesn't. The
child's in the house. Where else is the child?
I also feel like as long as if the child hasn't seen it, I don't feel like as long as he has not touched the child, you have a right to stop him. Because some people can be terrible to you, but they can be great fathers.
If the child is in the house, that's a risk. You risk your child mentally damaged from seeing something happen to their mom or seeing their mom, the aftermath.
Because there are some kids that see their parents being battered, and the sons will come and try and defend the parents. I think that's the angle that she's coming from.
You are right. There are a few occasions where me and my wife at home had a few small tussles. It's not that we are fighting, but it's just a small disagreement. My son has come in and said, "Oh, daddy, trying to come."
Yeah, because
but that is the way naturally it is. And I've also done the same for my mother. I remember years ago, my mother, and my stepdad at the time, my stepdad would get drunk and will prevent us from going to the house, will lock the door and push her out outside and other things. And occasionally, one time he tried to manhandle my mom, and I had to now intervene. As a young boy, intervene, and I ended up breaking his arm. By the time I was very physically strong at the time.
John is out here, yes.
I ended up breaking. Men generally are defensive to their mother. Men are generally defensive to their mother. So you can't go there. I ended up breaking his arm.
But how does that apply to back home? Because there's a lot of...
That was back home I'm referring to.
Okay.
At the time. But here, in this environment, often, like we went back to, the woman, because the structures are so much, into keeping the children, pushing the men away, and enjoying. But they get to a time they regret not allowing the men to come in, especially when there's boys in. Even women love their fathers. The dad has to be there. I have one of my friends just gone back to Ghana. He left the wife here with 3 kids and went. When he went, he made attempt to get back into the children's life. But the woman put some sort of she put barriers and other conditions that the man couldn't meet. That he has to pay this amount of money, he has to pay that amount, and then the man looked at it and said, no, forget about it. If that's what you are saying, then forget about it.
Sometimes and
he has withdrawn.
Children also don't want. They'll be like, why, when you was not there, me growing up, why are you here now when I don't need you?
Well, they hadn't grown up as significant as they wouldn't need a dad. They are just in the 12 and 13 years.
Yeah, but that's the significant age of teenager. You're just thinking that.
No, it's still relevant, that he comes in. 2 boys and 1 girl. Now the daughter is going to go to university without the dad. The dad is in Ghana, he's rich, he's okay, he's got everything. But the mother now, has prevented him from coming close to it. at one point I was even accused of giving pictures of the children to my friend, who is my friend, and that is my friend. For me to show pictures,
this is
I
so
was
sad.
blocked from Facebook. I was blocked from it, and then now she doesn't even talk to us.
Okay, you know how you said he has the right to see his
No, I've done the same.
She-
Don't.
Wait, he has the right.
I told my baby father's mom, don't show him the pictures. So
I'm not. Oh, he should see his children. Nobody knows the background.
he has no right to see
There
his
might have
children
been a
because
lot
he's
that
not
was
gonna
happening.
live.
He might have disappeared for God knows how many years and now come and say,
because
okay, I'll
he's
give you
rich.
250 a month. No. 250 is enough. I've been looking after these children for how long? They need this because they need clothes, they need shoes, they need this.
No, but
I mean, I got petty.
irrespective.
I got petty.
Well, she needs the water bill, the water bill, that toothbrush.
Petty, and I said to the man who's the father of my daughter, I said to him, the birthday, send her pictures. I was like, don't show him the pictures. He doesn't deserve to see her pictures. And that time, oh Lord, God has helped me.
So those are the things women think that they will use to now undermine or prevent the man or show him the reasons why he hasn't been there. But I can tell you with all honesty,
why wasn't he there?
a lot of men are now crying inside. They wish that whatever happened shouldn't have happened.
But show it.
And they want to.
You need to show it as
They
men.
have.
It's the toxic masculinity.
Some of them
I'm tired of
have.
it. You show your children that I was wrong.
Yeah, but how if the woman will not be allowed to get near?
No, it's not about the woman. There will be a time where your children will come for you.
That's when they're old.
Yeah, when they're older.
They're old. Yeah.
But those years are lost. Those bonding
I
years.
always say, make sure you keep your receipts.
Yeah.
You can't give the lady, she doesn't want 250 a month. That's all you have. You put that in an account.
bank account
You
for
put that in
them.
an account. You put that aside.
Put it there.
Birthdays, you know the address. Send them cards. Send them presents. If she doesn't give it to them, you keep your receipt. So when your child comes to you and they're 18, Dad, where was you?
There is my receipt.
I tried my best and I couldn't do it anymore. I was tired. But this is
But don't you think men get disheartened because they try, and then the woman is
And they
maybe
give up.
because of the way their relationship ended.
But why?
Yeah, because I'll give you scenarios. I've had a situation where an individual, after breaking up, wants to be very much, with the kids, be part of the kids, raising the kids. He's made the effort, spoke to kids' school. He's been prevented several
Go
times.
to court.
Well, the only reason why the person would not go to court is that when you go to court, there are issues. For example, the woman is taking a single mother, allowances and all that.
Okay, go to court.
The court. Once you get to court, that is going to come in, and that is going to now affect the woman, the way where she lives, and once she
then
gets
you
trained,
contribute
the
to
children will be affected.
But John, then you contribute to that. You go to court. I don't. There's no excuse in this world that anyone can give me why they don't see the child. You go to court, even if it means that you have to go to contact center and see them 2 hours a week.
Exactly.
You do what you're supposed to do. Then your children know that you have tried. It's all about what.
But don't you think men go through so much right now? They go through so much. They go to work, they're here, they're going. Yeah, you do as well. But they go through so much as men, and they still want to hold on to them. No, they're not.
How weak when it comes.
Men might be weak in this country. Listen.
No, they are not.
Men might be weak to you in this
tell you.
country because of the way people put them down.
No, it's wrong.
But it's not men, it's black men. Black men try hard.
I think
They try hard.
a lot of reason why as well men go through a lot of things quietly. As when we speak to our friends about
Thank you. They hold everything in.
How are you, Jack? Oh, I'm fine. How are you? He's
I'm
gone
alright,
through so
mate.
much. But he's gonna have that drink with you because you wanted that drink. He might say a little bit to you, but he'll never let you know exactly how he put a lot in. And then when they blow up now, everybody's like, why is he acting like this? Why is he doing that?
Thank you.
A lot of reasoning behind it.
There's a lot men go through on every single day. Like I said, my own view.
Why do you think
I left
men
home
are weak?
4:40 this morning. My wife has been at home
Why do
all
I
day.
think men are
Wait. wait. Can I just say something? So I wanted to say, I think what makes a big difference is a man seeing his child born. You see, seeing his child born in those first few months of his child's life, that is a big bonding experience. You see, once you miss that, you'll always have that bond. That's your child, but it's very different from a man that's seen his child born and spent those first few months with their child.
I think I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like what we go through, the 9 months of feeling and all that stuff, when you're seeing, and I feel like when you have a child with your man there, he loves you even more because he's seen you bring in his child. And the reason why I say men are weak is because men, when it comes to situations,
you sound like the trending men are trash trending thing.
I am not one to trash men. What I'm saying,
men are strong. Yes.
Men are weak in that aspect. It's the fact of the matter is they're able to walk away. In respect to us, where we've carried, we felt with movement, and if you were not there for the birth, you can disconnect. You're able to disconnect, and then you can, oh, it's so hard, and then it's like it's learning to separate the fact that it's not about her. She can make your life as hell as she wants to, but you as a father, you need to be able to be contented in yourself. Like, I'm gonna be very contented with myself to be like, you know what, I've done everything that I can. I might not always be right, I might not always have done things correctly, but I've done everything that I can. And then if I am wrong with my daughter, if I'm wrong, I would apologize to her and I would be like, I'm sorry for this, and then take accountability. How do I make that better? So the weakness is the toxic masculinity of like, you are a man. It's not about you.
But in the contrary, you can turn around and say a woman is weak because a man might not want that relationship any longer, and then a woman will turn around and keep that child away. But just like you said, it's not about him. It's not about her. So you've based all of this as a man is weak because he's not doing all of these things, but a woman can turn around and do the same thing to a man, so the woman can be weak as well because she's emotionally weak.
Yeah, but anyone that makes it, once you have a child and your relationship is broken up, anyone, it doesn't matter if you hate the sight of the person, you don't have to speak to that person. There's precautions you can take. Once, it's not about either of you.
Yeah.
It's not about me, it's not about
it's
you.
the child's best interest.
So, okay, wait, can I say something? Who are you as the mother to tell the man you're not doing enough? How do you know that's not all he can?
Thank you.
How do you know that's not all he knows? Like, he might have been brought up like that, and that's now he thinks that's how you be a father.
Yeah.
He doesn't know, and because you lot have that toxic relationship, he doesn't know how to listen to you.
But is it the woman's responsibility to teach him how to be a father?
But if you have a toxic relationship, no, it's not her responsibility. But she then says you're not doing enough. Okay, if I'm not doing enough, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do then? You can't just turn around and say to me, oh, you didn't make this right.
Yeah, what's enough?
That's the point I was trying to make.
What is enough?
That might be all he can give. That might be what he can.
Everything that he's given.
And the father, you don't know if he struggles every day to wake up in the morning because of his mental health.
Thank you.
And he doesn't tell you.
It's
you
true.
Don't know.
I just feel like as a father, presence is enough. Presence.
If you're not mentally there, you don't know.
But then you let you.
But men don't really.
Into this world, it's no longer about you.
You carry that child. You carry that, so you know how it is.
I just feel like anyone, once you brought a child into this world, your life is no longer yours.
Of course not.
So,
and that's in the idealistic
let me
perfect
put one
world.
point clear. That men are natural born hunters. And from that premise, it means that is why if you push a man a bit too much, or you push a man to some extent, it is very, very easy for a man to now withdraw and change direction because he's got options that's available for him. I'm not saying women haven't got options.
Like a lion, that's why the
Nonetheless, men are naturally sighted that way, and therefore, if you push him too hard, he will change direction and go to another one where he thinks a place where he thinks he's feeling a bit more at home. So we need to know to what extent we will push things to. And sometimes we need to consider intolerant and assess the man's natural strength.
So, John, where do you feel like a man deserves and should see his children, and where do you feel like a man should stay away and a woman should protect their kids?
Well, if you take a scenario that a man has been abusive, he's been very violent at home, you know, if you're violent towards your woman or a wife, that is unacceptable in every sense of it, especially in the presence of your children. That traumatizes the whole family.
What if he's never been in the presence of the children?
If he's never been in the presence of the children, that's also a different scenario. So
to a point,
the woman can, yes,
to a point,
can also distance herself, but still allow you to see your child and deal with your child as you may.
Okay, your child,
for the benefit of the child's roof and the child's well-being.
Your child is the most important thing to you in this whole world. Now you are scared of this person that has now hit you or done whatever he's done to you. It may not be physical, it may be emotionally abusive, it could be anything, verbally. It doesn't. Someone doesn't have to put their hand on you for them to be abusive. You're going to take your most precious thing now and say to them, here, look after them. Not in my presence, not in my presence, but take, because the baby's half yours, take the baby now and go, I don't know what you're going to do. It shows that you haven't got...
But you know that a man will never bring that sort of anger unless the man is mentally not stable.
But for that woman, do you trust it?
Yes.
I'm saying as a woman, it's very hard. It must be so hard to say, okay,
it's not about you.
But remember, you are your children's protector.
You are, but at the same time, I feel
like the child is not yours alone. The father has a soft heart and a soft spot for the child.
For the child. Wonderful.
Okay, so when does it get to the point where the child angers the father to the point that you anger him?
Maybe you're able to
I'm not sure.
Maybe the child will never be able to. Maybe. Listen to that word. Maybe.
If you leave a man that loves you, they hate you. They will try and do things to you that they will never look at their child like that. But then you have some people that will look at your child and then
this is my you, because we have to look at it from both sides. Maybe he might not.
We will never know.
But you're taking a chance. Unless there is a mental instability, background, and when that is established, of course, that could be a basis for a court if you bring an order to restrain the man from coming nearer to the child. And that is where custody is usually custody is given to the woman. And then the man is now put away from the child's life. But until that is established, you're dealing with the same.
Wait, I think that goes to
when they're a pedophile. Oh no! We don't know the answer. That's something. That's something new. That's something.
Using the word pedophile.
Exactly. We shouldn't even bring that on this show. That's some haram stuff. God forbid. Astaghfirullah. Exactly.
In places like Africa, you do have people.
No, it's true. It's true. It's true.
In our culture, that is like under the carpet.
Yeah, but it's not coming to the fore.
Yeah, but
it's not recognized.
They will be like, don't go to that compound, but they will not do nothing to that pedophile over there. So, like, what do you do as a parent?
As a parent,
who you think is molesting our children?
You can't prevent your child from going that area.
I would.
No, you can't prevent your child from going that area.
No, but I think that's acceptable. That's acceptable to keep your child away.
In places like Africa, what do?
You keep your child to yourself. You don't let your child go off to be. Hey, it doesn't matter. Aunties, uncles, my baby is my baby. About pedophiles, no.
This is the point that I was trying to make. You're protecting your child from this person that's going to mentally traumatize your child, whether it's just maybe something that he says, something that he does. But domestic violence does the exact same thing. It may not be in the same concept, but it's the exact same thing. It does traumatize your child also. And you're protecting your child because you know that person is a paedophile, but you know that person's an angry person. He can blow up at any minute because you've been through it. So why now would you bring your child into that situation? Go and get help first. I'm not saying you can never see your child.
It depends whether the child, i.e. we're talking about, is the dad of your child.
It has to be the daddy.
We talking about general.
It could be the grandfather.
The child is, if the person is a child of your dad, of course, you can seek, a court order to restrain him from coming
In Africa.
But you know what I want to talk about as well? We touched on mental health as well. Do you not feel like if a parent is restricted from seeing their child, predominantly men, if you are not able to see your child because the mother is wanting to be spiteful or the mother feels anger towards you and you don't see your child, every single day that you go without your child, as parents here, every day you see your babies, imagine the other side of it. Every day that person wakes up and that baby is not near them, they build up that anger.
I think that's where the determination to do everything that you can do in your power.
But
that will give you the one to say, okay, the drive to say.
But like you said, not everybody wakes up with the same drive. Not everybody wakes up with the same will. So that man couldn't wake up in the morning and be torn down. That was the last straw.
I feel like
in their life, because they could have had deaths in their family, they could have had so many things on their shoulders, and then that was the last straw that they didn't get to see their kids. Can you blame that father for retreating?
You cannot.
I can. I feel like it affects them both mental health. They both of their mental health, because a woman that is so scorned to predominantly hurt their child by being spiteful to the father, her mental health is not right, and she's damaging that child as well. She looks at that child and she's the father. She says horrible words to that child, even if she's the predominantly carer of that child. She might not necessarily be good for that child, because of like thinking of what the father is doing, and then he's there also being affected, his mental health being affected by not being able to be around. It doesn't matter what he does, even if he's done everything that he can do, he will never be contented with. It's eventually that he'll be contented, okay, I've done everything that I can, but that day-to-day battle, that's affected his mental health. So no one wins in that scenario. The child is traumatized by the abusive mother, the lack of the abandonment issues with the father. The mother is mentally unstable from the hurt from the father, and then having to deal with this little boy or girl that looks just like their father. And every time she looks at that child, you love your child, but you're like, oh. And then you have the father also who is not able to see whether it's with his fault or not is his fault or whatever. The day-to-day basis, if they're a good enough person who has done everything that they can, then that trauma is too much. So like ideally, maybe just have a baby and stay together. I think just have a baby and stay together.
So
I'm going to disagree with that. Sometimes, some situations, as much as you wouldn't stay together because you're married or you're in a partnership or whatever. I mean, sometimes I know, but sometimes people stay in relationships because they don't want to break up. When they have a child, we've got a child together, so we can say that can be more damaging than any situation could have been because they've grown up to see this toxic relationship and thinking this is normal. So they go to school and practice these normal relations with other people.
With their partners.
Their friends that give them the ball. Why are you shouting? You don't have to shout, but because they see that at home, it's normal. They're thinking, what's wrong with little John over there? He's shouting. Why is he shouting?
And little John takes it on to his...
Why is it John? John is here. Why is it John? John, they talk about you. Little John, they said. Little John.
Can we come to a point where we say, or we can say boldly, that it must come to a point where women should not see
women and men
particularly should not see in this environment children as a call card to score points against their man in any dispute, using the children as a weapon against the man in a bid to make the man
submissive
and make the man
submissive. It's to control and to be submissive.
To make him suffer for not seeing their child. We all in this together. It's a high time we come to a point where we realize that it is wrong to do so. Under any circumstance, leave your squabbles aside. Let the child be a child. Let the child go to whichever parent she decides to see.
I think it's wrong.
To see.
Everybody,
Unless,
every single person will say yes, it's wrong until they're in the situation. All of a sudden, I've got a reason to do that though. There's a reason behind it. There's a reason behind it. I disagree. I don't know if I agree or disagree. I don't know. Okay, so I think it's wrong to keep your child away from the father unless you have a valid reason, and that reason is because it is going to damage your child significantly. Because there's a lot of things that children forget, but there's a lot of things that children don't forget. Don't underestimate a child at any age.
You know what they say? Whatever you do to a child, they will remember. But I have thought at points where I'm just like, and I've thought about it, but I couldn't do it because I went through it myself. So I'm just like,
can we not see reason from what I said earlier that look at this premise and the environment or as a whole? Look at the statistics. How many children have gone to prison, have killed, have done bad things in society, in this society particularly, and then look at the background, you realize there's a single mother, a single parent.
Hey, don't talk about single parent like that. Barack Obama was from a single parent.
That is 1 out of a million cases.
No, there's loads of doctors, lawyers.
No, I'm telling you that wrong. As we sit here now, there is a Met Police campaign going from church to church, going from group to groups, teaching and then
and then there's the whole world. There's the whole world.
I don't live in London.
I
don't live in London, and my child is not everyone. So
no, it happens.
So you're a cat.
So it's like if
the
you
balance has to be
like that.
I'm not necessarily saying
like all middle-aged white men are going to be pedophiles. Like it's just you cannot. Every circumstance is different.
The statistics is evident.
Well, then maybe men need to try harder to be in their children's lives.
Now is that most parenting.
What I would want from you, John, is what would you want viewers to come away from this topic about, and what do you perceive when it comes to this topic?
Right, first and foremost, it is an established fact within this environment that often women be the fundamental mothers and, so to speak, bearers of children, but not the least. Men, we are as much involved, take it upon themselves to always use the children as a weapon to disallow the men, to punish the men, to prevent genuine men who want to just contribute. The relation might have been broken down. Love might have went down. However, the love for a child is universal. It's between both parents. And often, my take for now is that we should allow natural approach to take course, rather than we trying to use squabbles and the fact of our disagreement to come in between the child's well-being. The child's well-being might be made as a prerequisite. It must take precedent over anything else. It doesn't matter what disagreement we have, just give the child a chance to be a child, where both parents are involved, irrespective.
Yes. Amelia, how do you feel about?
I agree completely, because it doesn't take one person to raise a child. It takes a village to raise a child, not just the mom and dad, but also the extended family too. I think that unless there are in very severe circumstances where there's an actual reason that the child may come to harm as to why the child cannot see their dad or mum, because it could be both, dad or mum, both parents should be allowed to be part of that child's life, whether it's through communication with mum and dad, or through the grandparents, or through a family member, or through external, as in courts or mediation. But there needs to be some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Some sort of agreement. That's it, agreement that both parents come to, so that the child can see the mum and dad, and also let the mum and dad see the mum and dad have a healthy relationship.
That's really important.
Yeah, it is a big thing because health relationships are very important in teaching children. Because that sets their base and their foundation for when they grow up too. So even if the parents don't speak, have that base of respect.
Yeah.
Don't speak about the other parent to the child in a negative way, vice versa.
Respect is very important.
It is extremely important. Whether you see eye to eye with the mum and dad or not, you have to have that respect because that is your child's dad and that is your child's mum. And that child is part of that person. So
Yes.
if you disrespect the dad, you're also disrespecting the child.
Yes.
The child is the dad and as the child is the mum.
Yes.
Definitely. So that's my stance on it. I think that you should not let the parent not be able to see the child unless there's extreme circumstances.
Thank you, Amelia. And coming on to Fatu.
I agree completely with Amelia, but I feel like as parents, the be all and the end all is it's not about either of us. As long as we both put our child first, we will always find a way of being able to co-parent, and it's not about me.
Yeah.
I could completely not like you and not like the person that you are or whatever you've done to me, but if I put the best interest of my child first, there would be something that, because there must have been something about you why I created that child in the first place. So regardless of what happens, everyone just needs to learn to just step away and emotionally don't make it about you. And as long as you learn to be like, okay, it's not about me, and you think of yourself in that position of your child, of what you would want, your wants, your needs, and all that stuff, and look at it as everything that I lacked or everything that I would have wanted or everything that I had as a child, that's what I want from my child, then you move your own emotional separately. I don't have to like you, but I can respect you being a great father to my child. And once you're a great father to my child, I can dislike the shitty part that you've been to me or whatever, or vice versa. But as long as you're good to the baby and I'm good to the baby, because if you're not good to the baby, it affects me emotionally. So none of us are going to be good. So if we all put the fundamental thing that we all have in common is the baby, if we put that first, then we are able to emotionally be fulfilled in one way or another. You could be there, I could be there, I could respect you, I could love you, I need to be able to respect you more than I love you, because respect is more important for me. Because if you're a great father to my child, I don't have to like you, but I can respect you because of the father you are to that child, and vice versa. And then, you know, let's just try and just put ourselves outside of it and just do what we think is best for our children.
Just to quickly say something, that's why I said it takes a village to raise a child, because when you're in a situation, you don't always see what you're doing is wrong. As you said, put the child first. The mum or the dad may think they're putting the child first by not letting them see that other parent.
But if you have people around you that like...
Exactly, that's why I said it takes a village, because if you don't have somebody to say, look, what you're doing is wrong, and this, because when you're out of a situation, it's easy to point fingers and say you're doing this wrong or you're doing that wrong, until you're in the situation, as I said before. So when you've got that village there, you've got somebody to say, okay, look, this is what you're doing, that's wrong. You're taking emotion into account, and this is why you're acting like this. Then you can step and say, you know what, you're right.
Especially women, we act mainly on emotions, and and I've always said I'm quite lucky to have people around me that would put me like
in your place,
straight. And I feel like I don't ever want someone to be like, oh, but I thought this 10 years down the line. No, if I'm wrong, like put me aside that I'm wrong, because it's not detrimental to me, it's detrimental to the child. So if I'm taking the emotion on, and then, but I feel like even if you do that, eventually you realize, I'm making this about me. And it's a choice to continue to make it about you, or to choose to literally like hold your shit up and then like make it about your child.
It then depends on how strong you are as a person. If you're a weak-minded individual, for you to then put your emotion aside is a big thing for anyone to do, no matter how strong you are. So if you're a weak-minded individual, where you've already put your emotion in front, for you to then now turn around and say, okay, well, I'm going to put my emotion aside, it may be okay for a week, But then 2 weeks down, like when you get angry again about that thing that happened last year, again you're back to that same place where you was. That's why you need somebody to kind of say, hey, you'll do that again.
Little John over here.
Leave John. John is a big man there. Not little. John is not John. John is not little. Look at him.
Big John.
Exactly. Big John.
Big John. Top John.
I don't keeping it doesn't make you a bad parent for keeping a child away, but you've just made a wrong choice. Like, everybody's gonna make mistakes in life, and parenting is very hard as it is. Nobody's gonna be a perfect parent, no matter if you wait until you're 30 or you have a child when you're 15. It doesn't matter how old you are. Parenting is one of those jobs you have to have
do the best that you can.
As long as you do the best, you learn as you go along, and you will make mistakes. But once you know you've made that mistake, then rectify it and try not to make it again. Nobody's perfect. So we're not going to sit down and say, oh, you're a bad parent because you never let your child see your partner, because you're human and we're bound to make mistakes. But once you see that mistake and you know that you've made that mistake, now rectify it.
So
do speak to your child and say, you know what? I know you wasn't seeing dad for so long, but now you're going to see your dad, and speak to, and also have that communication with your child. You're not just stopping contact and that's it. If you are stopping contact for a reason, you need to sit down to
explain to your child why you're doing it, so that the child understands that it's not dad that doesn't love you. Maybe dad's not capable of doing the things that
exactly. And you need to explain to your child that this is the reason why I'm doing this, and it's because I love you and I want to.
But do you think the male should have that explanation as well?
If you're rightfully keeping your child away from that male obviously isn't capable of having that talk with that child, because they're not capable of looking after that child. And there's a reason for that. So you have to now let your child, you have to assess your child. Everybody's child is different. A child at 7 may have better capability of a child that's 9 years old.
Yes.
So you have to assess the level of your child, of understanding that your child has. And once you do that, then you can know exactly how to tell your child. You might just say to your child, you know what, dad's going to be away for a while, and that's it. And your child will be, okay then. There's other children that may say, well, why? Okay, so why? But then dad doesn't love me anymore. You're then gonna have to explain. But what if a man goes to prison, you can sit down with your child, depending on how old your child is, and say, listen, daddy's done something very wrong, and you have to go with it. And when you do wrong things, you have consequences to pay for. So if you turn around now, you throw that juice on the floor, you're not going to watch that TV because you've done something wrong. So you're going to spend the time that you're going to watch TV and wipe up that juice because you poured that drink. There's consequences to every action. And dad now has to learn the hard way. This is why I tell you, when you do things, let me know, or don't do this, because I want to prevent you from having those consequences. And it's just exactly how you explain to your child different things.
Because it's not always a choice of the man not being in the life or the woman not being in the life. They could have done something that consequentially could have taken them away from the child for a really, really long time, and the child would have that resentment of like, why did you do that in the first place when you know that you had a child?
But that's their problem. As long as your
abandonment issue, the fact that it doesn't matter what it is. Sometimes some children might be okay with it. Some children will feel like, but why wasn't you there?
No, but that's just.
But that's why I said you have to explain. What if you have understanding of something? That resentment isn't really going to be there because you understand this is what's happened. It's out of their control.
Some people will be like, you shouldn't have done that in the first place. Why didn't you think of me before you go?
But that's that child.
Then that's a conversation for that child now to have with their dad when they're older. And if that child is now asking questions like that, why did you do it? Why did you think of me first? That child is old enough to understand the dad has done something wrong. He didn't know it was going to lead to this, and this is now why.
Definitely.
Any other choice?
Definitely.
And because the pressures of mothers as well can push dads to do things that are.
Yeah.
There is things. One of those.
But thank you for tuning in to FJ Talks. Today was amazing. Thank you, Fatu. Thank you, Amelia. And thank you, John.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
As always.
Hey, John.
And then cut.
See you after the party.
Hey.